Hey everyone, welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. We have another update. Reports coming from quite a few countries here: Australia, Germany, South Africa, of course the United States, a bunch of places that about what's going on out there. Before we do, we're going to jump into some fires that we have seen in just the recent little bit here, including, of course, the big news out of Europe with the Nord Stream 1 and 2. Let's jump into that because that's the big news of the day. So three separate gas leaks, three separate bubble patterns on the surface there, showing that there are three separate gas leaks that have spontaneously exploded onto the scene. Explosions have been confirmed through seismic readings, and so these are not just leaks that have happened, but rather something exploded. In addition to that, the ex-Minister of Defense of Poland has come out and publicly thanked the United States for doing this, but there has not been any confirmation whatsoever as to who has done this. There hasn't really been any discussion that we can see, both from Bear Country or the United States, about what has happened here. We go back to February and we see that President Biden explicitly threatened to destroy the Nord Stream 1 and 2. So some people are pointing back to that and saying that he promised to take it out, and he's the only one who promised to take it out, and now it's been taken out. Seems like it might be the United States who did it. Possibly, but the European Union, particularly Germany, is threatening a strong, swift response. So whether who did this and then whether who's going to be blamed for this it could be two separate groups, but this does make it so that it is impossible for Bear Country gas to get to Germany for this winter. So it's not a matter of whether they're going to turn it back on or what. It is impossible for that gas, any of that gas, to come across that pipeline. Not all of it went into Germany either. So this is just no gas to Europe. It does not seem to be in Bear Country's favor for this to have happened, since it is their pipeline, and now they have no leverage whatsoever over Germany. But that was not the only fire/explosion over the last few days. The Paris Rungus market. Now, it was not the market itself that was on fire. It was one of the major warehouses in the complex that caught fire. A 7,000 square meter warehouse. Not a small deal, but it was not the entire market in Paris that caught fire, but rather one of the warehouses that's associated with that. The rest of the market is now open. Again, with news stories like this, as well as the Nord Stream 1, I do like to, one, they tend to get reported by everybody, so most of you are aware of them. And number two, I do not like jumping to conclusions before it is clear what is happening, because a lot of mistakes get made, and I try not to bring you bad information or rumors. This is why I have not been reporting what's been happening in Dragon Country, is I cannot confirm anything that's what's going on over there. And as days have gone by, more and more of what has been initially reported have turned out to be factually false and actually manufactured information, like the flights over Beijing, that there was no flights over Beijing. That has been proven to be categorically false, that has been doctored images and such like that. So I try to be very careful about that information to bring you the very best. All right, Huntsville, Alabama, an Amazon warehouse down there has caught fire, and they had to evacuate the building. There is not yet full damage disclosures on how bad that is looking. Also, notice with the fire in Paris, but then there was three separate warehouse fires in London. In a complex of warehouses, there were three separate two-story warehouses that caught fire, and those look like they're a complete loss. Let's jump into your reports. Zach M. Here in Australia, we're seeing the impact of the wheat. I found an old order where I got 2 loaves of bread for $3.40. This is Australian dollars. Now, 1 loaf is $3 almost exactly a year later. Some parts of the country have loaves going for $5+ and wouldn't be surprised if bread hits $5 by New Year's at this rate. Carina in northern Lower Saxony, which is in Germany, a woman who works in the dairy section of our main grocery store told me today that she is not allowed to speak about it, but she forced me to better start to stock up. Dairy products are not as short as many other things, but all shelves are getting more and more empty. Even if other areas seem to be better stocked, in Germany with items like pet food, my Edeka is nearly empty on wet and dry pet food now. Also, cat litter is a huge problem. Ms. Hot Dog Legs said, went to Walmart in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the entire freezer section was ransacked. Everything from frozen produce to easy dinners and breakfast goods. Only the elbows and shells of frozen foods were left behind. Cauliflower and rice, sausage on a stick, plant-based meat. There was also a limited stock on chicken. A couple of options for Lunchables. Very low on lunch meat, but everything else seemed well stocked. Costco was very well stocked. Did not see any holes with my well-trained eyes. No fronting or one product filling an entire shelving unit. Parrot Africa in South Africa did our month-end shopping again. Certain items are up in price, including 30 tray of large eggs. Also, there was no hot dog buns or hamburger buns at Checkers Watercrest. Spar had no Spar brand 5 kilogram brown sugar at all. Went to Click's Pharmacy to buy ibuprofen and had nothing in stock whatsoever. The ibuprofen shortage, I'm sure, has hit South Africa. Load shedding update. Water outages hit certain parts of Johannesburg. Could be due to stage 6 rolling blackouts. No water could be pumped to the reservoirs. So basically, just as the cell phone towers can't recharge in the short periods of time that they have power, and then being drained again when the power goes out, the water systems aren't having enough time to operate, get up to speed, and pump enough water, clean water into the reservoirs to pressurize the pipes. And so people are turning on their spigots and not getting water out because the power cuts are so bad that they can't keep clean water coming to people. And wait until the wastewater treatment systems get backed up. Mr. BTW, or by the way, I guess, here in San Diego, I went to my local grocery store and things were missing. We asked one of the managers and he said that they did not get their big food delivery the day before. It's happening slowly, incrementally, but it sure is happening. Stinky's mom. I'm hearing a lot of people from California just recently, and I'm hearing a lot of people from Germany suddenly chiming in. So it seems like Europeans are chiming in more. They've been kind of silent recently. And then Californians who have been relatively silent are now chiming in more. That's a non-scientific study, but it's something I'm noticing as I'm going through the comments. Stinky's mom says, can you find ground cinnamon in your area? I'm in the Colorado area and have not found ground cinnamon in weeks. Did find one small bottle of cinnamon stick, but that is all. We're seeing pretty much the same shortages in our area as you're seeing there in Pennsylvania. I have not looked for cinnamon particularly because it's not something I normally get. So I will check my stores here to see what I see. But other people, if you want to chime in whether ground cinnamon is in low availability in your area, let us know about that. Of course, for you to get your updates here, just use the word update in your comment so I can search for it and use some sort of geographical description of where you are so that what you say has some meaning to it. Just to say the store is out of this, it's like, well, where is there? Central Carolyn in Central Ohio, my Culligan water delivery did not show up for the first time ever. I've been with them for at least 3 years. This was supposed to be a stock up for the winter. We have a hard well water and buy spring water for drinking. The ag runoff also cannot be safe. I called. The rep said that they were completely out of 5-gallon spring water and that they have me rescheduled for 4 days out. No one bothered to call all day long. So a water bottle company ran out of 5-gallon jugs of water. That's odd. We're also hearing out of the northeast of the United States, we're hearing that Poland spring water, nobody seems to be able to get it. Even people who are real close to the spring where they bottle it. They can't get Poland spring water for some reason. Umbra Shadow Gaming says, I went shopping last night at Walmart near Buckeye, Arizona, and all the big bags of beans were sold out. I got the last 8-pound bag. Rice was also pretty low, so I picked up another 20-pound bag. There was also not a lot of pasta. Dees S says, Northern Illinois, Walmart. Ran in quick for a couple items, so didn't see many of the departments, but produce was well stocked, pasta sauce was stocked, eggs were low, and dairy was pitiful. 0 heavy cream, 0 half and half, and very few yogurts. Had to substitute evaporated milk for half and half in a recipe. We are seeing these heavy creams, half and half, and coffee creamers seem to be short in a lot of places out there. So something's going on with the dairy, particularly the heavy creams. Dave, update. Today, millions of Aussies impacted by a major Optus cyber attack. 10 million Australians, and they are having their information released. About 10,000 people a week until the ransom is paid. This is a major security breach, and like it said, 10 million Australians have all their ID information, so like their driver's license ID number, they have their date of birth, they have their a lot of information on them has been captured by these hackers, and they are starting to release these onto the dark web until the ransom is paid, and the ransom has not yet been paid. So the first 10,000 just hit the airwaves. And more to come, unfortunately. So that is a major issue for folks in Australia as they scramble to change their, IDs and information, such. Arkin B, South Carolina, upstate, no fresh chicken at local Publix. Was very scary to see, especially when people came up to the area. Their faces said it all. Anonymous in New Zealand says, there aren't many empty shelves, but there are missing things such as Cinderella's mashed potatoes. We have tried to find them for nearly 6 months, but the spot that they used to belong is gone now and filled in with sauce. So mashed potatoes, huh? We still have limits on how much we can buy of a lot of things, including cans of budget brand spaghetti and baked beans at Pack and Save. Pack and Save still has signs up to say that there are fresh veggies shortages such as lettuce, cauliflower, spinach, broccoli, all of which are incredibly expensive. So there's no shortages, there's just rationing happening. And I understand a lot of people say, well, rationing is good then, but realize that if there's rationing, there's shortages. Just because you don't have empty shelves doesn't mean there aren't any. In fact, also what we'll find is people in better off areas see the signs rationing things, but what they don't see is the people in the poorer areas have a tendency to be out of those items. Because the stores are going to divert those to where they can sell them for more money. And they're going to divert them away from the places where they can't get as much money for them. So just because your area doesn't have holes on the shelves, if you're in a better off area where you're paying a premium on things, be aware that maybe in the inner city or in the poorer areas in your surrounding areas, they may not have those products at all. They go on to say, the price of fresh veggies seems to have made a lot of people start gardens who normally wouldn't have, including us. And that's right. Hopefully with the gradual price increases and the slow burn on shortages, more and more people have gotten the idea that they need to start gardening, that they need to grow their own food. Because one day, when the light switch gets flipped off, there isn't going to be food. Or the food is going to be severely rationed, and people are not going to really have the opportunity to buy it because the governments will grab a hold of that, and they will use the food as a way to keep people in line. So keep stocking up, keep getting more self-sufficient, and keep an eye on what's going on, folks, with us here. All right, if you found this video useful or helpful, you might want to check out this other video from me right here. Otherwise, I will see you later. Steve Poplar out.